Hello everyone, TheSenpaiCode here. So I'm going to be doing a updated version of the can't add script component because the script class cannot be found. Make sure that there are no compile errors and that the file name and class name match. Now there's a couple common ways that I've already showcased on this channel, but I will be adding them into this video at the start here. But I'll go over the first method, which is the name class, as well as the error, the compile errors, which you'll see down below here. And then from there, I'll go into a couple uncommon ways to solve this as we go along. So the first one, of course, is going to be make sure the name matches. So let's go ahead. This was the script that I tried to add onto this game object. It did not work. Let's open it up here. All right, so here we are in the script. So of course there's a 0 here rather than an O. One way that you can make sure that it is actually the exact same is you can actually copy it from here. So this is the script here. I can just copy and then I can just paste it here. That way I know that it's the proper name. That way, like, you can check here and that you might actually have the proper name here, but because it goes a bit further here, you'll have to actually put your mouse over it and then read to make sure that this is actually what it is supposed to be in here. Make sure that you don't have any spaces. So if I mouse over, you see component 1, it's all one word with the capital being the 1. There's no spaces. That's also been known to cause the issue, so don't have any spaces when you do your script. Another way to solve this, the second way, is make sure that there's no compile errors. So down below here, you see we have 2 compile errors. So the first error here is here, but you know, this might not actually solve the issue. It could actually be something linked with another script. So say if this script was linked to this one here, or there was something here that could actually be causing it. So just make sure that you solve all compile errors. So if I actually come here, there's another error in the component 2 script that I created. So I'll just fix that there. And so that is the second method, is just make sure that there is no compile errors down below. And if you don't see an error down here, you don't see any errors, anything like that, you might actually have your errors turned off. You can actually de-highlight them so that you don't get notifications. Just make sure that you are getting the notifications. So just make sure that this is actually entered. Now, there will be a number here, even if you have it turned off, there should be numbers beside it if you do. So just, you know, double check that you have it turned on. So the third method is the copy and paste method. So what you want to do is, so let's use this one here. You want to just copy everything from inside the public class. So there was an instance where my public class name, the file name did match, and there was no duplicate of the script. And so what I actually did to solve it was I just copied it. And so if you are using like up above here, above the public class, if you're using Scene Manager or Text Mesh Pro, anything up above here, make sure that you will add that in after as well. So what you want to do is just exit that script after you've copied it, go to that script, delete it, and then recreate a script. So I'm just going to exit that. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go create. I'm going to go C#, and then I'm going to type component 1, like how I had it before. And I'm going to open that up. And once that's opened up, I'm just going to paste it all in there, and then I'm going to save it. Like I said, if you're using Text Mesh Pro or anything that you're going to need above the public class, or anything that you're going to be putting, if it's going to be calling for different scripts or going off different scripts, make sure that you add everything that you should have, and then to save it. And then what you can do is just restart the whole client. So you'll just go up and you'll do your little save or whatever, and then you're going to restart the client and then come back in, and then you'll try to add it again, and you should be able to add it. So the fourth way is if you've imported a package or anything, an asset from the asset store, and they actually have a script name that you already have. So say you're building a first person shooter game, you went on the asset store, you grab the first person shooter game asset, and they actually came with a player movement, but you also have a player movement, you created your own. That could also throw off the game engine and give the same, it should give an error if it's the same name, and then you can actually go down here and actually remove their player movement and keep yours if you want, unless you like theirs, then you can keep it. But that would be another way. So I'm going to show this little previous tutorial that I did right here, and I'll see you all in a second. So here is another reason that you may get the can't add script component, because the class cannot be found. So as you can see here, I have an audio settings, even though it's not the main menu that I'm trying to attach. Here's an audio settings script. If I go back out to scripts and I go into settings, here's another audio settings script. And if you have duplicates, you may not be able to add, depending on the errors as well, may actually stop you from doing that. And I know there's going to be more scripts because I put in all of these. So slider percentage, slide width, I know there's going to be duplicates of those. Slide percent, let's get rid of that. So now that I've went through and deleted all the duplicates, now it should work, and it does. And so that's another kind of uncommon way. So if you have duplicate scripts, and it may not be in your script folder if you've added a different package or something, and there's duplicate scripts with the packages and conflicting with the scripts that you have or have added, that will also cause it. So just make sure that the packages, whenever you've imported a new package, that you go through and you check the scripts that you're going to be importing to make sure that there's no conflicting scripts. All right, going into the fifth method, which is going to be to delete the library package cache. So first thing you want to do is just make sure that you save your project and go ahead and close it down. Second, what you can do if you want to be safe, you can actually back up your project file. So go into wherever you have your Unity projects and just you can copy and paste it and just put it as a backup if you want to before doing this, if you're unsure what the library is. So you'll go into your project. So I'm in Unity 2, so that's what this project is called. You're going to go into the library, and then you're going to find the package cache, which is going to contain your modules, I believe, and stuff like that. So here you got some modules, you got there should be a Visual Studios as well, idle. Here's everything that's going to be inside it. And so what we're going to do is we're actually just going to delete this file right here, and then we can actually just close that down and then go ahead and open up that project again. So I'm just going to open it here. This is a fresh scene, so there shouldn't be any, it shouldn't take that long to reload it. And then if you want to, you can actually reinstall anything that doesn't, you can actually reinstall one at a time and figure out if something there is actually causing it. But most of the time, depending on what's all going on, it should reload certain things as well. So there, like you see, there's no problem here. So that is the fifth method. Let's go into the sixth method. So the sixth method would be to make sure that you have the .NET SDK. I'm not going to link any because it's constantly changing, it's constantly updating. So I don't know what even the current one is. So what you can do is actually just search .NET SDK Unity and then go down and find whichever one you're going to need if you don't have it. Make sure that your Visual Studios is actually up to date. So you'll launch your Visual Studios installer and you'll have a update here. Just make sure that it's up to date as well. That could cause it. All right, this is a new project, but there still will be some stuff that can be updated. So the next solution is actually go to Windows and go to the Project Manager. So for me, TextMesh Pro, Timeline, those weren't updated. I updated those. Here's another one that can be updated. So just make sure that everything's updated. But before you do that, save your project, and if you want, because I've had an issue where I've updated some stuff before and it messed with my project, and then but in the past versions of Unity you could actually undo and go back to the previous version of, say, since I've updated like Text Mesh Pro, I could have went back to the previous version. I believe I might be able to do that if I actually remove it and just reinstall it through the thing. But what you want to do, so this has an arrow up here which can be updated, so I can actually update it, and it says recommended. Here's the install, so I can actually just update that here. And it shouldn't take too long to update these, but yeah, this has been known to cause the issue as well. So just make sure that all the package manager packages are up to date that you have in it. So it says right here in projects, so these are all the ones that are in the project, so it's going to update it and do that right now. And this is visual scripting right here, so that was one of the ones, and then Text Mesh Pro, and then Timeline. Like I said, those three weren't updated, so I can update those. And then I believe I won't be able, with this new Unity version, I'm not able to actually go back down. You used to be able to go back down, but I can't. So if it did screw up my project, I would have to remove it, I believe, and then reinstall it. That's why I wanted you to make sure that you backed it up, so if something screwed up, you could actually have a backup too. It's always good to have a secondary backup of your project, especially if you're doing something big. I do weekly backups as well as monthly, so that if I do things and it screws it up, I can always just fall back to the backup. It's just always good to do if you're going to be in the game design development. Okay, let's go into the next solution. The next solution is, if you have multiple projects open, sometimes I'll be pulling from a different project that I worked on. I need some scripts from there that I've had worked on, and I'll actually pull them over, but the other project will still be open, and I'll be trying to attach those scripts after I've moved the scripts over, but it won't let me. So make sure that you have the other project closed. Try having that, and then if you had just moved them over, try saving it and then restarting the current project that you're working on. So make sure that there's no other projects. That is another thing that has caused it for me in the past. So another solution to the problem is, I know one person that had actually put one of his scripts accidentally into one of the plugin folders rather than into his script folder. So make sure that your scripts are easily accessible. Because it was in a plugin folder, it wouldn't grab it properly. Normally when we create a game, we'll actually create our own script folder, and then it's easy to access, and we know where all the scripts are, they're all together and stuff. So just make sure that you have a scripts folder, and just make sure that you put all your scripts somewhere where they're easily accessible. And then I can just drag and drop these in here. And there we go. Make sure that your scripts, you don't have it in the wrong folder. That's just something that could cause it as well. All right, and for the next solution to the problem, there may not actually be an error detected, but something may also be wrong with the script. I knew someone who, like myself, put, instead of quotation marks, we put just the one, so it wasn't giving off an actual error, but the code was actually wrong, even though it wasn't giving off the error. That could be something that could be causing it as well, even though you're not receiving the error. So just double check the code yourself. Go through it. It may not show a red line. It may not show anything is wrong with it, but there could be something actually wrong with the script itself. If you've copied and pasted the code and created a new script as well, go in that method, and you're still not able to do it, that could be a reason why. It's happened to me, it's happened to other people as well. So just check the code. And I believe that is all of the issues that I've had in the past over my 2 decades of using Unity and creating projects, back when mono development was out and it wasn't Visual Studios and it looked a lot different. just working with all that and technology, you know, it always changes. Different versions of Unity always have been coming out, and they always experience different issues. But those are the more common and uncommon ways that would cause this issue. Hopefully one of these solved it for you. Try to comment down below if you've solved something that had caused this, so that other people can see what caused it for you. But yeah, those have all solved it for me, and those have all caused it for me. You know, hopefully one of these worked for you. I'm going to end the video here. I don't want to drag it out. So I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. And if it did help, give a like so other people can see this video. And I'll see you all next time.